Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gills, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh, yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you on this, I think it's Saturday. Good evening. Oh, good morning. It's good to see you on Saturday. I've kind of lost track of time because it felt like the weekend when I was... It felt like the weekend when I was gone yesterday. So 2 nights ago, I guess that was. Yeah. So my brother invited me over to his house because not because his wife's out of town, but his wife's out of town for a business trip. And so he invited me to come over to hang out and have dinner and play games with the nephews. And so we grilled steak. He grilled steak and pork chops and a bunch of other. We had a great meal, and then we also played Boss Monster with all the boys. We played Boss Monster. Have you ever played Boss Monster? I really like that game. That is a fun game. So they've been borrowing Boss Monster from me, and so we've been playing. So we played it last night, or no, 2 nights ago. And then the boys wanted to play Diablo. Also, I wanted to play Diablo on streams, things like that, because as soon as Diablo 4 came out, I think I mentioned on stream before that I wanted to play Diablo 4. They've got Diablo 3 over there at their house, and they can play it on, I think it's a PlayStation 4. I think they have the PlayStation 4, and they can play it simultaneously up on the screen, so they can have 4 people playing Diablo 4 at the same time. So all 4 of them will play. My brother and the 3 kids. There's a lot going on the screen when you're playing Diablo with 4 people. But I found out, I was like, all right, let me go ahead and try to get Diablo 4, and then hopefully I'll be able to like cross and cross-platform play with the nephews, and we can do a Ravenkeep server or something like that. But as it turns out, Diablo 4 isn't available for Mac, and I'm on the Mac platform. So, oh well. I was really hyped for that, and now I can't even do it. So, but we were playing last night. We were playing that night, and then my brother and I just stayed up after the boys went to bed, and we were talking and drinking some wild turkey and things like that. So I just stayed at his house that night, and then when I woke up in the morning, I had brought Dragon Strike to play, and we didn't play that the night before. So I was like, I tell you what, then I'll just stay here, sleep in the guest bedroom, then wake up in the morning. And then my brother had to work. He works from home. And so I just took the boys into the dining room and played Dragon Strike with them and had a great time. So let's see here. We got Zero the Blade here. Good morning, Mike. Mike says, good morning, Grinders. Just I get to join you all for a short bit this morning before heading out to work. Well, glad to have you here for a little while. Good morning, Lynn and Rogue Thinker. Good morning, James and George. Sable Phoenix is here. Boss Monster, it's a game, it's a card game, and it's a kind of a lightweight card game, although there's a lot going on with it because all the different cards have different instructions on it. But it's all animated, or it's all illustrated in like 8-bit pixel stuff from like the original NES. And the deal with the game is that you play the boss monster, and then you are trying to attract heroes to your dungeon. So you play the boss monster, and then your cards, you're building out a dungeon. It's by Brotherwise Games. So each different room in your dungeon has like some kind of trap in it, or has some kind of monster in it that's going to kill heroes. And then also different types of treasure types that will attract different kinds of heroes to your dungeon. And then every turn you flip over from the hero deck different heroes that are now in the middle of that are now in the village or in the town. And then you find out, like, based on whether or not it's a cleric or a fighter or a mage, what type of treasure your dungeon's got that's going to lure the heroes to your dungeon, and then you're dealing damage to them, and hopefully you're able to kill those heroes as they move through your dungeon. And then your goal is to like kill 10 heroes or something like that. It's fun. Steele says, hey, we're doing the mental fish thing on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. All right. Let's see. What else is going on? So, well, I'll tell you this over here. So when I got back, I told my brother I had kind of offended myself because the Dragon Strike miniatures that we played with, we'd had a problem with the boys. This is only a few times through a game like that. We've been playing Hero Quest. We wanted them to play Hero Quest, and they enjoy it, but they hadn't really gotten we're supposed to be behaving like a team kind of thing yet. I don't know Dungeon Keeper, but maybe. We were trying to teach them how to play Hero Quest, and then, like I said, I played Dragon Strike with them. They were having trouble with the idea of being a team and trying to accomplish a goal. But I tell you, I think they actually got better. Like, it was kind of frustrating playing Hero Quest because it was like, the phrase is herding cats. It was like, all right, guys, we are enter this Hero Quest dungeon. And then all 3 boys just like they have no concept of keeping the party together. Don't split the party. Don't split the party. Let me tell you, those nephews have absolutely no concept of that. And, I'm going over there and I'm going to, I'm looking for this treasure. I'm going over here. Yeah, but you might die. You're going off. And, I don't care. I'm going over here and opening this door. Okay. So like when you drop the boys into the Hero Quest dungeon, it's just like they all just scatter and run in a whole bunch of different directions. They did better. So I was pleased that they actually did better. They got away with that the very first game that we played because especially the elf's dice rolling was on fire. And so it didn't matter what he came up against. Like, he could kill everything every single time. But then the next time the dice weren't with them and it did not go as well. And it was a bit frustrating. But actually, this time, I think everybody had a great time. And although there was a significant amount of free for all, they did win. And I think worked together better as a team. So that's good. So that gave me some. That gave me some impetus to try going forward again. But I realized that my Dragon Strike miniatures were not painted. And so yesterday when I got in, I started painting Dragon Strike miniatures. Here's the Mad Scorpion. So he was painted with a red paint and primer, spray painted with red paint and primer. And then I put a red tone over him. So he's just getting started now. But actually, of course, he needs to have his blades painted and things like that. Now I'm going to go a bit further with him. But, that's a perfectly reasonable tabletop miniature if you painted the base black or something like that. I'm becoming more and more a proponent of, hey, these paint jobs don't have to take just a massive amount of time. So same kind of thing with the dragon here. Some just red paint and primer and then putting on the red tone. And that gets a pretty good looking dragon right here. I mean, I think. Now, like I said, I'm going to go a little bit further with him. But that's like, that looks 100 times better than the raw plastic. So just, it takes almost no time to get to 100 times better. Now I'm going to come in here and like, I actually think I want the wing to be like tan or something like that. And the same thing with like the fire elemental. I think this is the fire elemental. So the same kind of thing here. Now in the video, which I've got to have the boys watch. I didn't get up early enough. That's a dragon. Yeah, that's the dragon. In the original in the video, the fire elemental is a woman dancing. Yeah, exactly. Mini painting follows the 80-20 rule just like anything else. So that's what I'm encouraging people to do. Like, well, and plus, it's not on the board for all that long, and it's sitting there, on the table, 4 feet away from you, 3 or 4 feet away from you. But I think that the enjoyment and the look of the game increases dramatically when things are painted. But even to a really low, even to a reasonably low standard, because my brother and I were making fun of that. I think we were painting up our Kings of War miniatures when we were like, hey, how do these dwarves look? And then holding them way across the other side of the table because you're seeing them from the other side of the table anyway for the other guys. So like how does this? I was painting this man scorpion. How's this man scorpion look, guys? Well, pretty good. Okay, all right. Well, then that's all we need to know because that's the distance that you're going to be looking at it from anyway. So I become more and more of a proponent of painting more miniatures in less time. The fire elemental is awesome. Rogue Thinker says, yeah. What I was saying though is that in the video, the fire elemental. I mean, I do think this is a pretty cool fire elemental. I need some more elementals, but in the video, it's a woman dancing, and I was looking up women dancing like miniatures to be printed from Etsy or something like that because I was thinking, what, you could do an elemental. Like I'm sure that people are doing like scantily clad women dancing as miniatures. I'm sure people are making miniatures like that, like was in the video, and then just paint some of them up as fire elementals and some of them up as water elementals and everything else. Air elementals would be funny. Sable Phoenix says 80% of the effort is accomplished in the first 20% of the time. Yep, the last 80% of that time is finishing that 20% that makes them really pop. There's a reason that table ready armies are a different standard than tournament quality. The Dragon Strike has a video that goes with it. Dragon Strike, and of course, in that box that I had, it had a VHS. And I was like, have you guys ever seen one of these? And I handed it to my nephews. And they were like, no. They had no idea what a VHS was. It's not like we could watch it anyway because the VHS isn't in the house. Like there's no VHS player in their house. They have no idea what that is. But we had found out that people had like ripped it. If you rip VHSs, if that's even the right term. But anyway, I've put it on YouTube so you can watch there's a 30-minute Dragon Strike video. Right. Daniel says, wait, I've watched that video. Why is the miniature not a dancing flaming woman? I don't know. I don't know. The miniatures are a bit different from what is there. And they're also different from what's featured on the card. We did an unboxing of Dragon Strike. So if you are a Dragon Strike fan and you have not seen our unboxing of Dragon Strike, we did it, like, look up Dragon Strike Morning Grind, and we did a Morning Grind Dragon Strike unboxing, went through it in detail. Probably find them as ginned or something along those lines. Yeah, probably. And Steel Mongo says, yeah, selling naked women to geeks has never been a rough sale. It has not been. Have you not heard of the Wizard's transformation? You're talking about to the dragon? There's a service out there that converts VHS to DVDs. Yeah. So somebody has done it. So next time we play, before we play, I'm going to have them like turn on YouTube and watch the video before we get started again. But we had a great time, and it also reminds me that that's not a very complicated game. I generally like Hero Quest better. We played a lot of Hero Quest. We also played a lot of Dragon Strike. We played a lot of both. Mother's family played Hero Quest, but over at Dad's house we had Dragon Strike. We did play a lot of Dragon Strike, but both of them are simple games. And I was realizing the value of that, especially as I was sitting there playing Dragon Strike with the nephews. So they're like 6, I believe they're 6, 9, and should be 13. 6, 9, 13. Right? 6, 9, and 13. How much they enjoyed it. They still really enjoyed it. Because I'm like, if you're looking for a rule system or something like that, we sat down, you play in a reasonably short amount of time. I don't remember how long it took us to actually sit down and play, maybe a couple of hours or something like that. But, the treasure cards, and, I've got the magic sword, and I got the magic bow, and I've got the wondrous plate mail, and, what is that? That's an orc, and he's shooting a crossbow. They were going through caverns. I mean, I think they had a great time. And like I said, it also wasn't nearly as frustrating for me because I think they were learning something about cooperating. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they had a great time and they cooperated enough that they actually won the game. So that was fun too. I was going to say something else, but I was like I said, but even though it's kind of simple rules, it was perfect. It was perfect for them. It provided a great adventure, and that was it. They had, here's the troll. I just started painting this troll right here just has contrast paint on him. It's the Astra Militarium. No, military green contrast paint. And again, that's, I'm going to paint the bases black and things like that. But I want to do some more with this troll, but that's pretty reasonable. But they thought the troll was really funny because, like, you can see his butt back here. And so when the troll appeared, they were like, "Oh my God, he's showing you his butt." And then the youngest one, who is 6, was playing the elf, and so shot the troll and was like, "Oh, I shot the troll in the butt." And then he was very upset or very shocked when his arrow fell out of the troll's butt, and then the troll's butt healed itself on the next turn. He was telling his dad about that when he walked in. He was like, Dad, I shot the troll in the butt, but then the arrow fell out and the troll's butt healed itself. George says, Magic used to be easy to play, and I played it with my kids. Now my son plays it with his kids. I tried, like I said before, I am the most casual Magic player ever. And I didn't play Magic when I was younger. I had a ton of friends who did and were very deep into Magic, but I was not. But I picked up Magic cards and things like that because I thought that would be an easy kind of thing to get into, sorting your cards, because it doesn't require painting miniatures or something like that. So I bought Magic cards. This was several years ago for the nephews. And they played like when I would play with them, because I'm just very casual and I have some very casual decks. And hey, let's play a game of Magic. But it didn't really stick with them. They don't pick it up and play it like, with each other or something like that. Good morning, Stargate Mind. All right. So anyway, so that's what's been going on over here. Why I wasn't here this morning. I might be away this summer because I would like to play a little bit more with them. And if my brother and his wife have to work in the mornings, like from home, I mean, they do, they work from home. So if they're trying to work, maybe there are some days when actually I'll just go up there during the morning and, it's not exactly babysitting, but hang out with the boys and play maybe some games while they are in the morning, while the parents are working. That might be fun. So I might miss a couple of other morning grind days if I'm going to do that in the morning. But anyway, all right. So we were working on GURPS Spaceships. I've been working on a couple of other projects. Because I keep telling people that I've been trying to work on how we can play games together. And I had been working on ways to try to play games asynchronously. And I have just been completely failing at that, coming up with a good way to play games asynchronously. So now I am trying to come up with a way to play more synchronous games. And I might have a way. So I'm going to work on that this afternoon. I got several things to work on. I've got to go. I think my computer was doing something that may have stifled the stream here. So I do see that it's weak, but I think it may be coming back because that may have been on my side. I have never seen it actually drop like that before. Yeah, Sable Phoenix says, as I said in Discord, no better reason to miss a grind than to create a new generation to tabletop gamers. Yeah, that's a good reason. And you only get to play with like your nephews when they're young so much. Lynn says people used to play chess by mail, but that's a bit too asynchronous for my taste. Yeah. Right. Because I've been trying to solve several. Because my interest originally in trying to do more asynchronous games was that hey, sometimes it's difficult for people to all get together, but there may be people who want to play games. So as long as you can, as long as everybody were willing to, put in a move every 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever the speed of the game was, that would be okay. But it's still difficult to play like role-playing games that way. I was thinking that it needs to be a strategic games, like a strategic game, like a strategy level game, like Mighty Empires is probably best to play like that. But probably maybe we just go synchronous. But then that requires us. Then people are all together. But then you do actually get the game. And if it's digital, then hey, people can probably get to a computer easier than they can get someplace. There are probably a lot of people who would like to play some kind of game and need to do it digitally. Play at the tabletop if you can. But if you can't, then playing synchronously online is probably the second best thing. Okay. So I've been thinking about that. I'm also working on the next crowdfunding project. I need to work on that this afternoon too. So we will see. So lunch today, synchronous gaming, crowdfunding project, and also script writing. Got to happen. Okay. All right. So let's go over here and see where we were. We were creating our our UFOs. Let me bring up the notes here. So we were trying to use GURPS spaceships to create the Tic Tac, some type of alien probe, and then also the classic UFO, like flying saucer. So we had said we were just about to start star drives. That's where we were with star drives. Let's see here. Alien probe. So we had said that the alien probe, aka the Tic Tac, is going to have a control center. We've got to come up with how to add we've got to add numbers and sections to all of the different parts. So I'm gonna have to go back through this and do all of that. Armor, defensive ECM, engine room, specialized science array, because we said this is some kind of probe that goes out and can self-repair. And we had this issue with the factory that we need it to be able to self-repair. But I haven't gotten to everything yet. But I was planning on having some type of factory that was in it so that it could reproduce its parts. We decided not to make this a completely replicable probe. That this probe is not something that self-replicates, but it is something that self-repairs. Just because having a whole bunch of self-replicating probes, from the idea of, well, it's really easy to colonize the galaxy if you've got self-replicating probes. So these won't be self-replicating, but the aliens send out a bunch of these probes to go hang out on planets to see what's going on, and then let them know if let the aliens know if it's something they need to send the flying saucers out to check it out. We were looking at different fusion or superfusion, although the superfusion doesn't last as long as the power supply, because I'm thinking these probes will be out on the planet for thousands and thousands of years. But it could be superfusion that we need, except for we need to make sure that we've got some way that the probe can resupply itself with power, which seems to make sense. Someone suggested, maybe it was Stray, about having local solar power on it, like to make sure that it can like search for some more fissionable material or something. And it's got this super reactionless drive on it. It's a tech level 11 craft, and that requires a PowerPoint. That's what that is. Reactionless drive with 50G acceleration at tech level 11, or so tech level 11. The probe is tech level 11. What's going on with my... keyboard? No, it says it's up. Well, we'll just see. So it's tech level 11, about 40 feet long, 30 tons of loaded mass, streamlined hull, no control center, because this is an AI fully automated probe. I don't really know what the computer network complexity and comm sensor array complexity is and how that relates, but those are the numbers that GURPS gave us. Transmedium, this can fly through water, air, or space. I meant to put air in here. Capable of self-repair. And the idea is that we had a long discussion about faster than light communications and how that changes worlds. And I was thinking about that yesterday as I was driving back and forth between places. So, but anyway, somehow this probe communicates with the aliens, but it might be less than faster than light, because the aliens just don't care. Like the timeline or the time required maybe isn't an issue to them. If the probe finds some kind of interesting fish that they need to come and look at, well, maybe, if it takes a few thousand years, well, the fish will still be there. I guess as long as it doesn't take so long as it evolves into something else. Maneuver drive, star drive, we got to take a look at that. But I was thinking that maybe we could use something like one of those coil guns or something like that. We need some way for the probe then to get itself out of faster than light travel. But that if they the aliens shoot this probe toward a star system that they want to check out, maybe the probe doesn't have an onboard star drive system. It can just get itself out of faster than light travel and then uses its maneuver drives to get to the interesting part of the solar system. And then we were looking at the flying saucer sports model, like something that perhaps crashed at Roswell, and we were kind of modeling this off of Bob Lazar's sports model, like 50, and it's like 52 feet in diameter or something. So control center, armor, defensive, electronic countermeasures, an engine room, science array, contragravity lifters. There's something wrong with my keyboard. Let me reattach it physically. There, keyboard functional again. Contragravity lifters. It's like crewed by 2 aliens, but then maybe like up to 6 others can be there. We did talk about like where do they do work, so we probably do need some kind of like laboratory area aboard, like if they've got somebody abducted or something. Superfusion power plants, but I do want to make sure that we're dealing with element 115, because that's an important part of the UFO lore, although that might have more to do with their star drive than just their power generation. So that's where we were. Lynn says we shifted to online D&D when the pandemic hit and then acquired players from all over North America, so we're still gaming online. Lynn says you might find the factory rules in GURPS Ultra Tech. I haven't read through it in a while, but there would be where I would look for it if it's not here. Okay, I do have Ultra Tech, so I have a PDF of Ultra Tech, so we might do that. George says, I game online exclusively. Maybe most of my friends and family that play aren't anywhere near me. I've been doing this since before the pandemic, but that event spurred an improvement in VTT tech. Well, maybe it's just the way to go then. Especially for an online community. Now, playing asynchronously would also have been online. That was the thing. So it would be an online experience either way, but this would be synchronous online experiences. Okay, so let's go over here and see what, I'm going to take that down. And then bring up the Spaceships book. And we were to the point where we were talking about star drives. Okay, so Habitat, Hangar Bay. We went through all of that. Power, ram scoop, engines. We went through all of that. Solar panel array, solar cell. Okay, so star drive. This is exactly where we were. Okay, right here. Let me put this up. Lynn says, online gaming beats not gaming, but I do miss getting together around a table for pizza and junk food. Well, I know. That's why I said, yeah, if you can get together at the table with friends or family or things like that, go ahead and get together at the table. But there are also a lot of games that I'm potentially interested in playing, but that I guess I'll just never have the opportunity to actually play physically. So if it's not something that's online, then I guess it'll never happen. So I'll take the online gaming, I suppose. Okay, star drive engine. So this is what we were talking about. And it requires a PowerPoint. So we can put this means that we can put it anywhere in our starship. Tech level, this is super science. So star drive engine. This is a faster than light drive. So we're not going to have a faster than light drive on board the probe, although it has to get itself out of light speed. But I feel like the UFO, the classic alien UFO flying saucer, should be able to have a star drive engine. I think there's probably some type of lower level flying saucer that's like the things that attack in Independence Day. It's not exactly the same, but you know, that they had like fighters in Independence Day where there was like one alien inside, and that probably might not go faster than light, kind of like a TIE fighter. So it depends on having its destroyer, docking with its destroyer or some other kind of mothership or carrier in order to be carried faster than light. But this one that's got up to 8 aliens inside sounds like it probably needs to go faster than light. So this is a faster than light drive, such as a hyperdrive, jump drive, or warp drive, as well as all necessary fuel supplies and energy banks required to operate it. The exact mechanism is up to the GM. And when we went through GURPS Space, we went through a whole bunch of different ways that this could possibly work. Multiple star drive engines normally improve performance. In general, the base speed of a star drive is multiplied by the number of star drive engines. For jump drives and other designs that instantly travel an unlimited distance, the time required to prepare a jump may be divided by the number of engines. Since the exact capabilities are up to the GM, star drives get a simple faster than light rating. For instance, FTL 2 for 2 drives. Star drive engines, a typical star drive with faster than light 1. Super star drive engines. In some settings, more powerful star drives are available that have the same mass. This engine can provide faster than light 1 if given 1 power point, or boost up to faster than light 2 if given 2 power points. At the GM's option, a super star drive can also represent a drive that provides some extra capability at a higher energy cost. Spacecraft with star drives usually require other maneuver drives for sublight travel, especially if the drive ceases to function near a planet or a star's gravity field. only works at particular jump points or only provides travel through hyperspace. Some warp drives can simply downshift to function at sublight speeds. For instance, upon entering a solar system, see the star drive reactionless design switch. So they're also design switches. So actually, this is not particularly complicated right here because it gave us all the different potential ways that we could do this in GURPS space. We did say that this book is a necessary, seemingly very necessary addendum to GURPS space, because GURPS space explained all the science. Oh, we didn't breathe and sip, and I was told I was doing better about remembering that. But now I'm not. GURPS space gave us all the explanation. This is giving us the actual design rules. Let's breathe and sip. Let's work on our mental health for a moment this morning. George says, we do on occasion play a combination. I visited friends in Vegas, set up a fantasy grounds, and played with some of them in the same room and some remote. Sable Phoenix says, I hope and dream that friendly aliens will contact us in my lifetime and give us joy rides through the solar system and beyond. Ever since watching the short film Travelers, I've wanted to fly over the... Lynn says, I presume that ludicrous speed in Spaceballs universe requires 3 power. Probably so. Sable Phoenix wants to fly over the ring of Saturn, and I'm sure as hell isn't going to be us humans accomplishing it before I die. Let's take our drink here. Two deep breaths, deep inhales, complete exhales, and then take a sip of our favorite beverage. Here we go. And sip. Here we go. Everybody sip. Good. Tastes good. So, okay, let's say this is something that needs to be on our craft, so it's going to be taking up a space. So over here on our list of things that are inside our, no, not the alien probe, but the flying saucer. So we do need to have, we do need to have a star drive engine. And that's probably what has something to do with element 115. Star drive engine, and this takes up star drive engine, and that would take up 1 power point, or depending on, I guess we'll have to go back to space to actually, the GURP space, to figure out how this actually works, or a super star drive engine, whatever we think is best for our aliens at 2 power points. George says, well, now it's empty. Time to pour another K-cup. Go grab some more coffee. I'm going to have to get some more drink here in just a moment as well. Extra J. Hello, Extra J. Good to see you. Is this your first time in the chat? It's good to see you. If it is, then here's to you, Extra J. Where'd my document go? Okay, so star drive engine. So we put that in. That's rather basic. I mean, so GURP Space went over all kinds of star drive engines. See, and we're SM down here. We're not worried about cost here. I'm just trying to create it. In some settings, star drives are unavailable for small craft SM5 and SM6. Our flying saucer is SM6. So this is workspaces. So we don't have any workspaces, but that's design. That's I figured that's the way it's supposed to be. Stasis web. Now, see, this is tech level 12 plus. Somebody talked about holding our abductees in stasis. It says this system places the spacecraft inside a bubble of time that runs far slower than the rest of the universe. It can be set to last anywhere from 6 minutes to billions of years as observed by the rest of the universe, while only microseconds pass within the bubble. Anything in stasis is frozen, unable to do anything but outside the normal space-time continuum and cannot be affected by anything else. This vessel could fall through the heart of a star or survive until the end of the universe. Viewed from the outside, an object encased in a stasis web is a perfectly reflecting mirror. No sensors of any type can penetrate it. In space combat, stasis webs are turned on during power allocation and last for the duration set by the operator. A spacecraft using a stasis web is effectively indestructible, but able to do nothing but perform an uncontrolled drift. So that's not holding like your abductees in stasis. I think it's probably an Ultratech thing that we'll have to look at. But I'm not sure where that comes from. That must come from some sci-fi story or something like that. Upper stage is special. This is the entire front craft of the spacecraft. 6 systems can be designated as an upper stage. So if you are building a staged spacecraft with different fuel tanks and rocket engines like an Apollo craft, you can do that, but that's not what we're doing with our aliens. Now we do have, then we go to weapons. So we have weapons major battery starting at tech level 7 and needs to be in the hull and requires a PowerPoint. This is a single mount for a powerful weapon. Also includes targeting systems for aiming the battery's weapon once the vessel's array has detected a target. First, decide if the weapon will be a single turret or fixed mount. Oh, Extra J says, been here for other streams, maybe as ordinary Jeff. Well, I'm very glad that you're Extra Jeff this morning. Yeah, element 115 is Moscovium, half-life of 0.65 seconds. Hard to see what you could do with it. Well, we need some type of explanation about like some type of isotope or something that drives this. It's too much part of the lore not to include it, I think, in the campaign setting. Sable Phoenix says, one of the things that indicates to me that Bob Lazar might not be making the whole thing up is that element 15 hadn't been identified until he came forward with his story. But it's just numbering. I mean, I could predict element 118. I don't know. It doesn't particularly impress me as far as the Bob Lazar story goes. But as far as our alien and UFO lore, seems to be an important part of it. Oh, so is this, okay, Larry Nevin? Okay, I don't know this author. Uses stasis fields a lot in some of his stories, so that may be where it comes from then. Am I building a ship using a Puppeteer General Products hull? They're pretty stout. I don't know what that is. So we were trying to decide whether or not there would be, so there's not going to be any weapons on board the Tic Tac. So the Tic Tac can do jamming and things like that, but no real point in having weapons on it. Do we have, the question that we had is, do we have weapons on this particular UFO? It doesn't seem like we're reporting UFOs that we have a lot of like weapon systems on board. And if these are like the creepy abductee types of, or creepy aliens that will abduct you, it seems like having them shoot at you isn't exactly the kind of thing they would be doing. But of course, GURPS Space does provide that. Fixed mounts can only fire at targets that are facing the hull section the battery is installed in. The weapon in the front hull fires forward. However, superior focusing or stabilization systems gives fixed mounts a better range of fire control. Turrets have a wide firing arc. Batteries in the front or rear hull can fire at targets that are facing the central hull. Batteries in the central hull can fire at any targets. Each turret also includes an integrated, dedicated control station, allowing the turret to be manually controlled from within the system. There are 3 broad classes of weapons. So either it looks like you choose either fixed mount or turret. And then there are 3 broad classes of weapons that can be installed in a major battery: beam, launchers, and guns. Each type is divided into several subtypes. So beams, these are directed energy weapons. Guns, these are shell-firing cannons. They're rated for caliber, projectile diameter in centimeters, and number of shots carried. Launchers, these are self-propelled missiles. They're rated for the diameter of missile they fire in centimeters and number of shots carried. So I don't think that, like, if there were going to be some type of weapon on board the flying saucer UFO, I think it would have to be some kind of beam weapon. That would make sense here. Or if it's going to be a major battery anyway. So we've got that. But then we also have medium battery. So weapons medium battery uses the same rules as major battery above, but the weapons are less powerful and there may be up to 3 fixed or turret mount weapons in the battery. So this is a major battery, so this just has one of them. But if you go for medium battery, you can have up to 3 of these weapons per medium battery. And then weapons secondary battery uses the same rules as major battery, except the weapons are less powerful and there may be a mix of up to 10 or fixed turret mounted weapons in the battery. So if you're willing to go, like, let's look at gun caliber here at 6+, that would be 8 centimeters. No, that's it. No, it's the same thing here. So cost is for a maximum 3 weapons, fewer or 1/3 cost up here. Weapons tertiary batteries use the same rules as secondary batteries above, except for weapons are less powerful and they may be a mix up to 30 fixed or turret mounted weapons in the battery. So I'm not sure. Oh, wait. I got to look at my size here. So for a major battery, let's just look at gun caliber. So if I have a major battery on board a size +5 craft, that's a 10 centimeter caliber gun. Medium batteries, it's an 8 centimeter gun. That's the same. I got to look at the same size craft. +5, or if we come down to secondary battery, let's go. So there's no option to put a secondary battery on board an SM +5 craft. Let's look at, so then also tertiary batteries only can go on size 7 craft. So tertiary batteries at size 7 craft for gun calibers would be 8 centimeters. Secondary batteries with gun caliber would be 10 centimeters. Medium batteries would be 12 centimeters on an SM +7 craft, and would be 14 centimeters on an SM7 craft if it's a major battery. Okay, I see what they're doing here. Oh, the puppeteers are an alien race in Niven's books who build a basically indestructible hull. Oh, okay. I don't know that. The Zenti lesson: the effectiveness of a drive as a weapon is directly proportional to its effectiveness as a drive, making the interstellar craft its own weapon. Yeah, you're right. Curious, they're breaking protocol and giving calibers in centimeters rather than inches. You're right. We did switch over to centimeters for caliber of these weapons. I don't mind. I work easily with metric units, but it seems inconsistent of them. Yeah, we've had the imperial system everywhere else. So it does seem inconsistent. Launchers and gun calibers are rated in centimeters. We also have weapons spinal battery. So this would put us at a +7 craft at a 16 centimeter. This is a single fixed mount for beam weapons or guns. It's similar to a major battery, except it runs through the entire spacecraft. A spinal battery is actually 3 systems. One system must occupy any non-core front core location. One system is located in the core of the central hull, and one system may be in any non-core rear hull location. The weapon fires out of the front hull, unless specifically noted as being rear-facing, in which case it fires out of the rear hull. A spinal battery needs 3 power points to energize it, 1 for each system. Use the rules under major batteries for spinal battery installation, with the exception that all spinal batteries are always fixed mounts. If the battery is rear-facing, note this. If any one system in a spinal battery is disabled or destroyed, the entire battery is non-functional. For purposes of determining if ammunition explodes explosions occur as a result of damage. Missiles or shots in the battery are assumed to be in central or rear systems. So, okay, we can have a spinal battery too. Again, it's not applicable to what we are doing right here, but we do have weapon types here. This is interesting. Various weapons can be installed in weapon batteries. For detailed weapons effect, see the beam weapons table in Chapter 4. Note, if conventional guns or missile launchers are mixed with other weapons of the same battery, one power point is still required to energize the other systems, but that power point is not spent. But if that power point is not spent, the conventional guns in the battery will still be able to fire. So beam types, these are our directed energy weapons. Use gunner beams skill, except for ghost particle beams, which uses artillery beams. So heat, tech level 7 super science, a generic beam of pure energy with no special effects at all for emulating pulp science fiction beam weapons. So if there was some type of beam weapon on board, like if they need some type of light beam weapon, so the only thing that... Oh, I can't put tertiary batteries. This is a tech. This flying saucer is a size 6. So we could put like a 3 megajoule beam weapon on there that does 3D damage as a secondary, or no, like a medium battery, or what's the primary battery? A major battery. Like it seems like if there were going to be any, then you would put like a medium battery that has like 2 of those heat type of rays on it, you know, to make it real like pulp science fiction, because they might need to, you know, hit something or clear something out in space, or hit some kind of space junk or something like that. Because we're still not saying it's a combat craft. It's not a combat craft, but it seems like if it were going to have any type of weapons at all, then like to clear space junk out from in front of it or anything like that. I'll just put over here on flying saucer, if it has any weapons at all, it has 1 medium battery of 2 beam weapons that do 3D damage. Is that each? Fixed mount forward. It would be like turning on the flashlight or something like that, and just use this heat ray that's like a, you know, pulpy kind of science fiction ray if it hits you. Hey, Charlie. It says, dang it, always late. That's all right. As long as you're here. Sable Phoenix says, I always prefer to call spinal mounts as axial mounts instead. Granted, they're usually what the whole craft is built around, much like the GAU-8 Avenger in the A10. Yeah. Or I was thinking about the dark saber laser in some Star Wars book I read, where like the Hutts were building some. Of course, everybody's building a Death Star super laser. It was building a ship around a Death Star super laser, so it kind of looked like a lightsaber, but it was just going to be the super laser. You also need a tractor beam for abducting humans and livestock. Yeah, let's see here. How do they do that? Let me make note of that. Do we need a tractor beam? That's true. So I was thinking they can probably land, but it would also that's also very classic UFO. You're completely right. If they like hover above you and then like shoot a tractor beam down and draw you up into the center of the ship, that's very classic, creepy abductee kinds of aliens. Yes. Good morning, Neutromancer. Good morning. It's good to see you. Heat rays are the name for lasers before lasers were invented. Right. Exactly. Except for, so we have, it says lasers are tech level 9. So it says that heat guns are tech level 7. super science, a generic beam of energy or pure energy with no special effects at all for emulating pulp science fiction beam weapons. Whereas lasers is telling us is a beam laser operated in visible light or near ultraviolet frequencies. Particle and neutral particle beam optimized for space combat. It has superior armor protection, but range and accuracy are inferior to lasers. Plasma, tech level 10, super science. These accelerate bolts of ionized plasma with double the damage of other weapons, but poor range and accuracy. That might be the kind of thing that like Star Wars blasters are. Could be. UV laser, a free electron laser operating in far ultraviolet frequencies with superior range to lasers. Antiparticle accelerates a beam of antiparticles, causing surface explosions and radiation effects, similar to particle beam, but with greater damage. Ghost particle, I had never heard of this before. Ghost particle fires a high energy mesons or other exotic particles that pass through armor before detonating inside the target. Range and accuracy are inferior to the laser. Use artillery beams to fire it. Oh, here we've got tractor. Okay, uses a ranged force field or gravity effect to pull or manipulate objects over a distance, but inflicts no damage at all. Okay, so there it is. That's it. So we need that. So actually, we need a battery, a bottom-facing battery, to put the tractor beam on. Okay, so we came up with tractor beam right away. So is that perhaps a major battery? Let me make note of that. Okay, so yes, it looks like we do need that. So we need some type of bottom-facing battery for a tractor beam to bring aboard humans and livestock for abduction. Sometimes I would assume there's some kind of away mission where they go and get you, but for abduction. Or maybe also some type of array down there when you're hit by it that it causes confusion. You know, some kind of bright light that you're hit by, and all of a sudden there's confusion while they bring you aboard the starship or something like that. Lynn says lasers are tech level 6 in the real world, at least the microwave and infrared regions of the spectrum. Higher frequencies are a little trickier to engineer. It's like the size. Neutromaster says, I missed the difference between major and minor batteries. Like a major battery is just one weapon. So a single mount for a powerful weapon. Whereas if you do like a medium battery, they're smaller weapons, but you can have up to 3 of them in a turret or mount or something like that. So it's quantity of weapons versus the size of the weapon. So major battery is one weapon. Whereas if you get down to like tertiary batteries, like it can be any mix of up to 30 fixed or turreted mounted weapons of this type of category. I think the tractor beam would be a secondary or smaller battery. Doesn't need a lot of power to lift 100 kilograms or so. So you think it could be a secondary battery? Well, I tell you what you could do. Assuming that beam output does your tractor beam, weapons secondary battery uses the same rules. This says could have it fixed or up to, like, that's probably what should happen. Up to 10 fixed or turreted weapons in the battery. What if like the array beneath the ship was the secondary battery, and it has like 10 tractor beams that can all like shoot out at different things. So it's not restricted to just lifting up like one cow or one person, like right beneath it. It could do that. But if it's got this secondary battery with a whole bunch of turrets, a whole bunch of tractor turrets under there, then it could hit a whole bunch of people at once and be drawing a whole bunch of people up at once. Now, I guess we got a limit for the amount of stuff that the spacecraft can have on board. But that would allow them greater flexibility in their targeting. They got to be above it. But if it's on a turret, then they can target at a whole bunch of different, angles beneath the craft, and then potentially have more than one of these tractor beams. Let me make note of that too. Bottom facing. So this could be a multiple, like a secondary multiple. So we've got to have some type of storage space for whatever it is they're bringing on board here. A secondary battery with multiple tractor beams that are independently targetable. And maybe it's special effect. Is bright, dazzling light or something like that. Yeah, maybe first see how much a cow weighs and the capacity of the tractor size. Yeah, I didn't see that right here. You would think that would be something that GURPS is going to give us. At the moment, all I have for it, like how much, it just says use a ranged force field or gravity effect to pull or manipulate objects over a distance, but inflicts no damage at all. But we probably need some type of amount that it can lift. That might be something that's in Ultra Tech. Just 1 second. I'm gonna grab something else to drink. I'm out of drinks here. I think something like 1,500 pounds. Oh, Lynn says 400 to 800 kilograms for typical breeds of domestic cattle. And these aliens need to be able to for some reason, they need a lot of cows. I'll be right back. Let me grab something else to drink. All right. Let's see. It probably is. It could be in a table here. Oh, well, actually, I don't see a table below here. It may be an Ultra Tech. Their batteries are dairy powered, tech level 12. Maybe they like hamburgers, but I think we can infer that they are not into bacon burgers because you never hear about pigs being abducted. That's true. Hey, I need to shut this door. And in this setting, we need to have stuff about the aliens, cattle mutilations and things like that too. X-ray lasers, a free electron laser operating in the X-ray frequency with superior range to lasers and excellent penetration. Gravitons. This is interesting. I hadn't heard about this either. Gravitons reach inside the target, crushing or shaking it. Range and damage are inferior to lasers, but ignore armor and superior force field penetration. Conversion converts matter into energy or antimatter, not only disintegrating a portion of the target, but also causing an explosion. Grazer, a gamma ray laser similar to an X-ray laser, but with greater penetration. Disintegrator reduces target to component particles or erases its existence. You might be tempted to put disintegrators on it, but that is a tech level 12 super science. And we've kind of established that the aliens are tech level 11. That keeps them very advanced, but not miraculous in their abilities. Not completely miraculous in their abilities. Gun types. These guns are rated for their caliber in centimeters. The projectiles fired are often slower than the spacecraft, especially with conventional guns. Range is theoretically unlimited in a vacuum, but ability to hit is severely limited at a distance. To compensate, guns fire shells packaged with small thrusters and guidance systems for limited course correction. Even so, they're best used in close combat or against non-maneuvering targets like planets or space stations. Use gun or cannon skill. Conventional gun, tech level 7, a large caliber conventional gun similar to a modern tank or heavy naval gun with mechanical autoloader. It is not a high energy system. Electromagnetic gun, a coil gun or rail gun with much higher muzzle velocity. Grav gun, tech level 11 plus, a super science weapon with high muzzle velocity. 2 mutually incompatible options can be added to any gun. Rapid fire or, very rapid fire. Launcher types. These are 2 types of launchers rated for the caliber in centimeters. Use gunner or guided missile skill. Missile launchers, tech level 7. These fire guided, self-propelled guided missiles. They are not high-energy systems. So I guess that's like your photon torpedo. Warp missile launchers. These fire similar missiles but accelerate them to relativistic pseudo-velocities, using an internal warp field accelerator, using the missiles to reach distant targets nearly instantly. They are not high-energy systems. Yeah, didn't it say gravitons were super science? Yeah, it marks that as super science. No, it says, Sable Finch says, even super science can't use fundamental particles that don't exist. Well, I'll forgive it for the purposes of this GURPS book. Okay, so that's all. So that's all of our spaceship systems. So that's all of our systems. So this is a list of additional options that can be added to systems or vessels. They do not count as systems. Artificial gravity and gravimetric compensators, tech level, just super science. Artificial gravity. Spacecraft may have super science artificial gravity generators that create a gravity field that can be varied between 0 to 3G. Artificial gravity may be set for each hull section, and habitats are workspaces for each room within the room. For each room from within the room. Gravitic compensators. This field negates up to 99.5% of felt acceleration, but does not produce artificial gravity. Well, I think that those are design features, options here that we can add in. I think our flying saucer needs that. So our flying saucer will have artificial gravity. And also gravitic compensators. I assume that's like what Star Trek calls an inertial dampener, right? Hey, good morning, TSL frontman. Good morning and happy Canada Day, everyone. Oh, it's Canada Day? Well, happy Canada Day to everyone then. Good to see you. Automation. So many systems on large vessels have a workspace entry that represents the facilities that maintain the system and their crew. To reduce technical crew, a spacecraft can have automation. Total automation is available for any system that requires workspaces. Now, this could be important from, well, it was important on our probe, we were saying, because it's entirely automated, but it could be important on the UFO too. Although there aren't many workspaces on board because it's such a small craft. But if we need to, we could automate more stuff. Emergency ejection. A control room on an SM 5 to 8 vessel that was not installed in a core location may incorporate ejection capabilities to facilitate rapid escape. Ejection takes only 1 second of free action in space combat turns as long as the control room was not destroyed. Treat an ejected control station as a life pod. See Ultratech 232. Except it holds the crew of the control room and a backup of the computer. Emergency ejection adds another $500K to the cost. We did add shields to our UFO, so we might not need. I don't think it's all that hard as far as its armor goes. RAM rockets, the nuclear thermal rocket, antimatter thermal rocket, fusion torch, super fusion torch, antimatter plasma torch, or super antimatter plasma torch. Drives may have an auxiliary air-breathing air ram mode for atmosphere. They suck in air with a turbine, heat it using their onboard drive reaction, and expel it for thrust. Spin gravity using larger unstreamed spacecraft may be designed so part or all of the ship can spin to simulate interior gravity via the Coriolis effect. Okay, so we're not doing that. Stealth hull options. Oh, well, then maybe our, let's see. Spacecraft may either have either or both of these hull options. Stealth. The spacecraft hull is harder to detect with sensors. Oh, well, we definitely need that. That sounds like something the UFO would have. And then dynamic chameleon. The spacecraft is a digital chameleon surface that can blend the vessel into the background or paint the surface with any desired markings or imagery. Okay, so actually we need stealth hull options. That sounds like something that should be there. The spacecraft hull, for whatever reason, is harder to detect with sensors. We do have electronic countermeasures on board the UFO. So if it's actually actively being shot at, then it's can do something about that. It's not a combat craft, but it does have electronic countermeasures on board. But actually, maybe we take off one of the electronic countermeasures if we have to and add a stealth hull option to this. Stealth hull option. Stealth hull. See, the spacecraft is harder to detect. Subtract the spacecraft hull is harder to detect with sensors. Subtract, so it's tech level 11 minus 6. So we're doing 5 times 10. Oh, subtract 10. Oh, I like that. Subtract 10 from rolls to detect it. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. Because some people will go, no, wait a minute. Aren't we seeing these things with our upgraded radar or something like that? So I can see how that one might be controversial. But that's not looking at it. It's not cloak. We don't have cloaking devices on board this thing. We don't have a cloaking device. But we do have like a stealth hull. So maybe that's what we need rather than and maybe that's too high. But I kind of like the idea about having it be kind of difficult to lock onto. Oh, tractors have their own page? Okay. Digital chameleon equals electrochromatic plating. Or you can just toss one of the cows out. Then that's like Monty Python, right? That's throwing the cow at you. All of a sudden you're doing something, and all of a sudden this alien spacecraft like ejects a cow out of an airlock at you. Winged. Okay, we're not winged here. Design switches. Okay, these are setting-specific design switches that can be added to any spacecraft to emulate various super science or setting-specific paradigms. Specific switches are often applied to all spacecraft in a setting. So adapting fictional spaceships. GMs adapting existing fictional spacecraft should feel free to modify statistics to better fit the source material, combine several systems into one, or simply take an effects-based approach that aims for a general flavor without paying too much attention to the precise technobabble description and numerical values. So cosmic power. In some space opera universes, vessels employ starkly powerful energies far surpassing baseline levels. To handle this, apply the cosmic power switch. Any antimatter or super science reactor may be designed as producing cosmic power points instead of power points. Typically, their reactor fuel will incorporate some rare hypothetical element or be stored in compact superdense form at 10 times refueling cost or more. High energy systems that require cosmic power points are cosmic powered. The main effect is on beam weapons and force screens. Cosmic beam weapons get 1,000 times their output. Raise kilojoules to megajoules, raise megajoules to gigajoules, raise gigajoules to terajoules, and terajoules to petajoules, which also increases damage. Cosmic force screens get times 10 DDR. In addition, the following super science systems can be specified as requiring cosmic power points to work at all: cloaking devices, contragravity lifters, jump gates, reactionless drives, replicators, star drive engines, stasis web. Reactionless drives will usually use either super reactionless or subwarp variants. If the cosmic switches used assume spacecraft have enough auxiliary power to power any ordinary systems that use mere high energy systems without installing power plants. Some ultra-tech gadgets, such as disintegrators, assume cosmic power levels. It's similar to, I don't know this word, coating on subs, a radar absorbing layer. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Yeah. Exactly. Phenomenal cosmic power. Right. This is probably the way to build the Death Star. Probably so. Probably so. Hey, Andrew. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, the Death Star might be cosmic power. Yeah. See, and I do appreciate that about GURPS. That okay, we don't have to fit the Death Star into what we're doing here. We can like on our basic scale. Like, okay, so then there are other things that happen in sci-fi that are just at a completely different level. And so you just need to know when you're operating at that gigantic level. Exposed radiators. If this switch is used, spacecraft have large radiator arrays. This is realistic, but often ignored, even in hard science fiction. Exposed radiators are appropriate for any hard science fiction spacecraft with any reactor, or which uses fission, nuclear pulse fission, antimatter, or total conversion engine, except nuclear thermal rockets, external pulsed plasma, or high thrust antimatter thermal rocket engines. A vessel with an exposed radiator has a retractable main radiator array extending out like sets of wings or fins. And I do wish to remind anybody who's coming in, this is the simple abstract system for spacecraft creation in GURPS. We're not going into too much detail. This is the simple abstract system for creating spacecraft. Coolant tanks, force screen variants. Okay, so force screen variants. Various options are possible for screens. In some settings, specific options may be mandatory. The cost modifier may be applied to the cost of the force screen system, but this is recommended only if multiple variants exist in the same setting. If a mandatory switch is applied to all screens, don't worry about it. Adjustable. So it sounds like angle the deflector shields. This is a Star Wars thing. Screens can be angled to increase their current DDR across a particular hull section by ×2 at the cost of having, rounding down, current DDR across both other hull sections. In combat, this can be done when screens are powered up. Cloaking functions as both a screen and a cloaking device whenever turned on. Energy only protects against beam weapons. I've always liked that. So energy shields only protects against beam weapons or energy melee weapons like force swords, radiation, and the burning damage of nuclear antimatter blasts. Hardened. The screen is hardened versus all attacks. For instance, a graviton beam's normal divisor versus screens becomes plus 50%. And then kinetic. So like in Star Wars, the shaft is ray shielded. That would be energy shielding. So you'll have to use proton torpedoes. Only protects against physical attacks, including collisions, conventional guns, or missile warheads, and the crushing damage from explosions. It won't protect against beams, radiations, or the burning damage from nuclear or antimatter explosions. Useful for GMs who want to downplay missiles without diminishing beams. So I potentially like the distinction between energy shields and kinetic shields. Nuclear damper provides no DDR, but instead prevents nuclear warheads from detonating. Read DDR as field radius in miles around the vessel. You can have both a nuclear damper and other force screen. Opaque. Vision and sensors can't see through the screen. It just appears as a blank bubble, often black or silver, surrounding the vessel. The vessel can be detected and attacked, but sensor analysis against the vessel is impossible, and enemy gunners may not target precise systems. People inside can see out normally. Oh, that's nice. People inside can see out normally. Partial. Screens only affect the hull section they're placed in, but have triple the DDR. Reality stabilized. Teleport projectors and optionally other teleport or warp effects will not penetrate it. Oh, so Star Trek shields have that. Teleport projectors will not penetrate it because that's like your transporter room. Gets 1/5 DDR versus ghost particle beams. Two-way. Screened vessels may not fire or launch anything from anything this screened vessel may not fire or launch anything the screen stops. If the screen is opaque, the vessel's crew may not detect any other vessels or use sensors. So that's important too. Like, how can you shoot out if you're under screens that stop your beam weapons? Then how can you shoot out? Now, Star Trek has that because they've got the particular shield modulation, right? So I assume that you would not have this switch on then. That, hey, this is designed, the screens are designed so that you can shoot out, but that the other craft cannot shoot in. Sable Phoenix says, opaque screens are like the ones in the Moat and God's Eye, except for you can't see out either. You have to extend sensor booms outside the bubble to see. Oh, interesting. So that would be, two-way. If the screen is opaque, the vessel's crew may not detect other vessels or use sensors. So you got to have something outside of it that's helping you out. Velocity. Slow-moving objects can pass through the screen. You can walk or throw a baseball through it, but anything over 100 miles an hour is stopped. Does not protect against minimal speed collisions. So that sounds like a Dune thing, right? So here is actually, let's see, black globe generators and travelers are two-way also. Faster than light comm sensor array. So this is the discussion that we were having about our aliens, and it just depends on what fits the setting and what we want to do. And I'm still not exactly sure about that, but we do have faster than light comm sensor array. So I guess that by default, the comm sensor array is not faster than light in the other section of this. But this says the active sensors and our communicators in a comm sensor array may optionally work at faster than light speeds. Faster than light active sensors usually have extended ranges, but in game terms mainly serve to justify safe navigation using warp drives. The GM may multiply active sensor ranges by 10 or vastly increase them, measured in AU or even parsecs. Faster than light comms allow communication over interstellar distances. GMs can assume faster than light signals are instant and comm ranges in AU are now measured in parsecs, or give the signal a finite but faster than light speed. See GURPS space for various options. Let me just make note here. We probably already have made note of that. But when we're talking about alien probe, and we're talking about comm sensor array, still continue to consider the faster than light comm switch, depending on setting appropriateness. Negative mass propulsion drives, pseudo velocity. Reactionless drives and star drives may produce motion without accumulating momentum or kinetic energy. The drive does not produce acceleration effects on the ship or anything inside. If it's 0G, it's in 0G unless given artificial or spin gravity. Crew and vessels don't experience acceleration. It seems like that the aliens inside. Now we did give them. We gave them something to reduce. Oh, gravitic compensators, inertial dampers, or I'll put notes here, or just say the alien propulsion systems are pseudo velocity. Is that what we call it here? Pseudo velocity. That seems like it would handle it from that side too. So we want the UFO, the flying saucer, to be able to do all of a sudden the just sitting here and then all of a sudden, boom, in that direction at seemingly instant, but the aliens on board don't get turned into chunky salsa. Singularity drive, star drive fuel, star drive reactionless. A star drive, usually a warp drive or hyperdrive with this option, can function at sublight speeds exactly if it were a reactionless drive. So that's allowing you to downshift. Sometimes such drives simply boost to light speed as a prerequisite for going faster than light. Specify the type of reactionless drive in parentheses. For instance, star drive, super reactionless. No extra cost if this is a standard feature of the setting star drives. Otherwise, twice the combined cost of both drives. So the next section is crew. And so what's okay? Crew. What are you saying with crew here? Suggested crew requirements are below. Bridge crew, gunners, and administration may be sapient computer programs. Others must be live or robots. On vessels organized on hierarchical lines, 10% of the technicians must be the bridge, and most of the bridge crew are usually officers, often provided with better quarters. Control room crew, one per control room crew, one per control station. If there's only one or two control crew, they're usually styled as pilot and co-pilot, or pilot and commander. That's probably what we'll call that with the aliens, instead of pilot and co-pilot, pilot and commander. If more generalize them as control room crew or specify various duties or combinations as desired. This can include commanding the spacecraft, captain, and possibly also an executive officer, maneuvering the vessel, pilot, plotting courses, especially for hyperdrive, jump drive, the navigator, controlling drives and power plants, the chief engineer, operating comm sensors and array, communications officer, sensor operator, tactical officer, or science officer, depending on the array type, and control of weapon systems or batteries, the gunner. Turret gunners. Weapons, batteries, turrets can be controlled from the control room, but can also include their own dedicated control station. They're often assigned one gunner per turret. Technicians for workspaces. We don't have a lot of workspaces on board our crafts. Medic. If a spacecraft habitat has sick beds, it should have one medic per 10 or fraction thereof. Non-automated sick beds or 20 stretchers. Passenger care and entertainment. Accommodations assigned to paying passengers usually have a passenger attendant for every 2 luxury class, 5 first class, or 20 economy class passengers. Spacecraft may have dedicated crews for any small craft they carry in hangars. We don't have that situation here. Specialists. Finalizing the spacecraft. Well, we got a lot of work to do to actually finalize this. Total up the cost. Not worried about that. Getting the stat block written up right. This does say, DST-HP, record the value from the whole table that corresponds with the chosen SM. It's also convenient to record a damage threshold equal to 10% of the basic DHP. When using the spacecraft combat rules, each multiply 10% of the DHP that is lost due to penetrating damage causes the vessel to suffer 1 system damage roll. We've got some type of space combat in here. HT, the vessel starts at HT 13. Reduce HT by 1 for each of the following. If the vessel has SM plus 5 to 9 with no engine room, if using the high or total automation in TL 7 to 9, I'll have to go through this in more detail once the craft is thought up a bit more. Air performance. And then we get into space travel. All right. Well, this has been fun. So we don't have a complete write-up for our ships yet, but once again, fantastic conversations. And some idea about what our alien spacecraft is going to be. I hope that you have enjoyed it. We will continue tomorrow building this out, I suppose. I suppose we'll be doing that tomorrow. It's possible we'll do something else tomorrow. I did get a box in here. Let me show you what I got over here that we do need to do an unboxing. Does anybody have this? I don't know what I'll be feeling like tomorrow, but if I'm feeling like an unboxing, we could be looking at other things. We could be continuing this, but I did get this in. This just arrived. Zweihander Fantasy Horror RPG Starter Kit. Does anybody have this or know anything about this? We like boxes around here. We like boxed kits. Everything you need to play a beginner-friendly box in a beginner-friendly box. I like boxes. So I do have this. So one day soon we'll do an unboxing and we'll see what's inside that. Seems kind of interesting to me. But until then, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Go be creative. Go be constructive. Go have some fun. Play some games with friends and family. Enjoy yourself. I will see everybody. Oh, it's famously crunchy. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see then. All right. Everybody have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Later.